Elvis Presley, behind the glamour, Elvis was deeply lonely. He surrounded himself with friends yet felt isolated, struggling with fame's crushing weight. Offstage he battled insomnia, dependence on pills, and a longing for simple peace away from the spotlight. Chuck Berry, rock's true pioneer. Chuck Berry wasn't just riffs and swagger. Behind the scenes he was fiercely protective of his music rights, often clashing with promoters. His sharp business sense made him both respected and feared in the industry. Little Richard, known for wild performances, Little Richard's backstage reality was spiritual conflict. He often quit music for religion, only to return again. Torn between faith and fame, his life was a constant tug-of-war between holiness and hedonism. Jerry Lee Lewis, behind his pounding piano and reckless energy, was chaos. Controversy followed him off stage. Failed marriages, scandals, and fiery temper. Yet in quiet moments, Jerry Lee was vulnerable, haunted by his belief that his music angered God. Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly seemed destined for decades of fame, yet his backstage life was about discipline. Unlike many peers, he avoided heavy drugs, focusing on songwriting. His career ended tragically, but behind the scenes, he was all work ethic. Mick Jagger, charismatic on stage. Mick Jagger was a shrewd businessman off stage. Behind the scenes, he handled the Rolling Stones deals, ensuring survival through changing eras. His sharp eye for trends and image made him both a rock star and strategist. Keith Richards, the ultimate rock outlaw, Keith Richards lived hard. Behind the swagger, he was deeply loyal to bandmates, even Mick, despite fights. His love for blues shaped every riff. In private, he was surprisingly gentle with friends and family. Brian Jones, founding member of the Stones, Brian Jones never felt truly accepted. Behind the scenes, jealousy and substance. Abuse clouded his genius. He craved recognition yet slipped further into isolation, leaving a haunting presence long after his tragic death. Charlie Watts, quiet and reserved, Charlie Watts avoided the rock star lifestyle. Behind the drums, he lived for jazz and drawing. He shunned chaos, preferring loyalty to his wife and a calm life, making him the Stones' most grounded member. Bill Wyman, as the Stones' bassist, Bill Wyman stayed out of the spotlight. Behind the scenes, he meticulously archived band history, keeping journals and photos. While others indulged in chaos, he remained the Stones' quiet observer, preserving their untold backstage moments. John Lennon, Lennon's wit hid deep insecurity. Behind the scenes, he struggled with identity, anger, and a longing for peace. Fame felt like a prison. Offstage, he searched endlessly for meaning through love, politics, and eventually quiet family life. Paul McCartney, behind Paul's charm, was relentless ambition. He pushed the Beatles forward when others faltered. Offstage, he was meticulous, always crafting melodies. His rivalry with Lennon masked a quiet fear of losing relevance, driving his unstoppable work ethic. George Harrison, the quiet Beatle, wasn't quiet inside. Behind the scenes, George battled frustration, yearning for recognition. Spirituality became his refuge. Away from fame, he devoted himself to meditation, gardening, and friends, finding peace beyond the chaos of rock stardom. Ringo Starr. Behind the fun-loving image, Ringo struggled with self-worth. He often feared being the least talented Beatle. Off-stage, alcohol became a crutch. Yet his warmth and humor kept the group together in ways fans never fully realized. Eric Clapton, behind Clapton's guitar genius, was personal turmoil. He struggled with heroin, alcoholism, and heartbreak. Off-stage, he sought escape through music. His most vulnerable moments weren't on stage, but in songs born from pain, revealing a fragile man behind the legend. Jimmy Page, behind Zeppelin's mystical image, Jimmy Page was obsessed with perfection. He controlled every sound, every detail. Off-stage, he was deeply private, immersing in occult studies and rare guitars. His quiet intensity contrasted with the storm he created on stage. Robert Plant, on stage a golden god. Off-stage, Plant battled grief and doubt. The death of his son changed him forever. Behind the bravado, he was restless, always searching for new sounds, often escaping fame through quiet travels and reflection. John Paul Jones behind Zeppelin's chaos. John Paul Jones was calm and professional. He arranged, composed, and kept the band grounded. Off stage, he avoided drama, preferring family and music theory. His quiet discipline made him Zeppelin's hidden backbone. John Bonham, behind Bonham's thunderous drumming, was vulnerability. He hated touring, missing his family desperately. Alcohol became a dangerous escape. Off stage, he was soft-spoken, generous, and loyal, a man whose contradictions mirrored the wild and tender sides of rock. Freddie Mercury, on stage, a flamboyant powerhouse. Off stage, Freddie was shy and private. He longed for close friendships beyond fame. His love for cats and quiet nights at home revealed a gentle side far removed from Queen's stadium-sized energy. Brian May, behind May's soaring guitar, was a man of science. He balanced astrophysics with music, often retreating into studies. Off stage, he was humble and soft-spoken, driven not just by rock, but by curiosity about the universe. Roger Taylor, Roger's explosive drumming hid a sharp wit and restlessness. Behind the sound. Ennis, he often clashed with bandmates, yet loved Queen deeply. Off stage, he enjoyed fast cars and freedom, needing space away from the band's massive pressures. John Deacon, Queen's quiet bassist, avoided the spotlight. Behind the scenes, he wrote some of their biggest hits, but hated fame. After Freddie's passing, he withdrew completely, choosing family life over the limelight, leaving fans longing for his quiet genius. David Bowie reinvented himself constantly, but off stage he struggled with identity and addiction. Behind the personas was a thoughtful, restless man seeking stability. Later in life, he embraced family life, finding peace away from the characters he created. Iggy Pop, wild on stage, Iggy lived chaos behind the curtain too. He flirted with destruction, yet off stage he was thoughtful, even poetic. His survival wasn't luck, it was sheer willpower, transforming pain into raw, primal art that redefined performance. Lou Reed, behind Lou's tough exterior, was vulnerability. He clashed with labels, despised fame, yet craved validation. Off stage, he wrote poetry and lived quietly with close friends. His contradictions, abrasive yet sensitive, shaped his hauntingly honest music. Jim Morrison, the Lizard King, seemed untouchable, but behind the scenes he was lost. Alcohol consumed him. Off stage he wrote poetry, yearning to be taken seriously as an artist. Fame felt like a cage, one he never escaped. Ray Manzarek, behind the Doors' mystical sound. Ray was the architect. Off stage he was philosophical, weaving Eastern thought into music. He believed the band's purpose was spiritual awakening, making him the thinker behind Morrison's chaos. Robbie Krieger, often overshadowed, Krieger quietly penned hits like Light My Fire. Behind the scenes, he was humble, devoted to flamenco guitar. While Morrison stole headlines, Krieger's quiet artistry fueled the Doors' unique sound. John Densmore, behind the drums. John was deeply conflicted about the Doors' lifestyle. He clashed with Morrison's excess, fearing self-destruction. Off stage, he turned to writing, documenting the band's turbulent, behind-the-scenes truth with painful honesty. Jimi Hendrix, behind the cosmic guitar solos. Hendrix was shy and insecure. He hated conflict, often retreating quietly when others argued. Fame overwhelmed him. Off stage, he dreamed of simpler life, making music free from business and pressure. Janis Joplin. On stage, a powerhouse. Off stage, Janis was fragile. She longed for acceptance, often battling loneliness. Behind the scenes, her laughter masked pain. She sought love and belonging, but rarely found it, pouring everything into her music. Bob Dylan, behind Dylan's cryptic lyrics, was a fiercely private man. He despised celebrity, often disappearing from the spotlight. Off stage, he immersed himself in painting and family, letting music speak while he quietly reshaped the culture. Neil Young. Neil Young lived by instinct. Behind the scenes, he followed his gut, often abandoning projects for authenticity. Off stage, he was devoted to family and activism, preferring nature's quiet over fame's glare. Bruce Springsteen, the boss, commanded stages, but behind the scenes he battled depression. Fame didn't heal him, it amplified the emptiness. Offstage, therapy and family became his refuge, grounding a man who gave everything to audiences night after night. Steven Tyler, behind Aerosmith's wild frontman, was chaos. Addiction nearly destroyed him. Offstage, he sought spirituality and healing, using rehab and family to rebuild. His fragile heart hid beneath the screams, balancing madness with a longing for peace. Joe Perry, Perry's cool guitar image, masked deep struggles with substance abuse. Offstage, he quietly rebuilt himself, devoted to family and simple living. His loyalty. Tie to Tyler was strained yet unbreakable, making their bond one of rock's most enduring. Ozzy Osbourne on stage, the Prince of Darkness. Off stage, Ozzy was childlike, often lost without guidance. He relied heavily on Sharon to keep him afloat. Behind the chaos was a vulnerable soul, terrified of being forgotten. Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath's riffs were born from loss, fingers cut in an accident. Behind the scenes, Tony was disciplined, crafting darkness from adversity. Offstage, he was soft-spoken, humble, a quiet craftsman who reshaped heavy music forever. Geezer Butler, behind Sabbath's heavy sound, was Geezer's dark imagination. He wrote lyrics from nightmares, religion, and fear. Offstage, he was thoughtful, almost shy, preferring books and quiet reflection over chaos. His words gave Sabbath its haunting soul. Bill Ward, Ward's drumming thundered with rage, but offstage he was fragile. Addiction and mental health struggles haunted him. Behind the scenes he was sensitive, deeply spiritual, and torn between loyalty to Sabbath and his own survival. Ronnie James Dio, behind the powerful voice, was kindness. Dio treated fans like family. Offstage he was humble, generous, and fiercely dedicated. He believed in music's magic, carrying himself with grace while quietly becoming one of metal's most beloved voices. Eddie Van Halen, behind his revolutionary guitar, was pain. Eddie struggled with alcoholism, often hiding behind humor. Offstage he was shy and childlike, happiest tinkering with guitars in solitude. His quiet brilliance changed rock without him ever needing the spotlight. David Lee Roth, behind Diamond. Dave's larger-than-life persona was restlessness. He thrived on reinvention, never satisfied standing still. Offstage, he pursued martial arts, radio, and adventure. Fame wasn't enough. He always searched for the next thrill beyond music. Sammy Hagar, Hagar's upbeat energy masked ambition. Behind the scenes, he was a savvy businessman, building empires outside music. Offstage, he balanced rock with family and business, proving you could live the rock dream without self-destruction. Pete Townsend, behind the Who's, windmill strums, Pete battled guilt and doubt. Fame unsettled him. Offstage, he questioned his role, pouring frustration into songs. His writing revealed more than he showed, vulnerability hidden beneath smashing guitars. Roger Daltrey on stage, Roger's voice shook arenas, but offstage he was practical. He kept the Who together when others fell apart. Behind the scenes, he focused on farming and family, living a surprisingly simple life away from chaos. Keith Moon, Moon the Loon, lived up to his name. Behind the madness was loneliness. Offstage, he feared silence, masking it with jokes and destruction. His wildness was a shield against vulnerability he never learned to face. Jeff Beck, behind the guitar god Aura. Jeff was reclusive. He avoided the spotlight, preferring cars and privacy. Offstage, he was shy but deeply passionate, letting his guitar say what words could not. His genius thrived in solitude. Carlos Santana, behind Santana's fiery playing, was spirituality. Offstage, he embraced meditation and peace. Unlike many peers, he avoided chaos, focusing on inner growth. His backstage world was filled with calm reflection, fueling the soulful fire of his music.